Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 Best Builds video. So, I'm sure you know the drill by now. We have 3 very cool camps to check out, and yeah, looking forward to diving into this one. Just a quick reminder before we do, though, as I get asked on a regular basis, I'm just using in-game camps that I found spread around the world while I'm exploring for now, as taking on submissions is a bit of a logistical nightmare, so I'm keeping it that way around for now. But, with that little note out of the way, let's look at some camps, shall we? So, camp number 1. This one is a kind of style I see fairly regularly, but doesn't very often get over the line, so this one definitely has done. From Sakura, down at the top end of Skyline Valley, right on the bottom edge of the Savage Divide, I think, really, yeah? And yeah, this combination of Brotherhood of Steel building pieces I see regularly, especially the porches, often combined with the tower that is available as a premium item, that one. Although actually I think they've moved it to the Atomic Shop since. But a lot of the time I find they're kind of lots of concrete and not particularly on-point decoration. But this one has got a really interesting balance to it. And in keeping with the weather that we're currently enjoying, it's definitely got a kind of summery vibe too. Like the trees either side of the entrance as well. Really good way of highlighting that. Little kind of walled off, sort of, I suppose. Entranceway here, which is quite cool. Heading on in. Not a fan of the Halloween bowl, as we've mentioned countless times before, but still, cool other than that. I like the combination of materials here. You've got sort of solid and defensible on the outside with the concrete and the steel and so on and so forth, and then greenhouse and more sort of relaxed, laid-back stuff facing inwards. It works quite well. Same with the wood as well. A nice little resource-producing and power-orientated area around here. Everything divided off into its own little spaces, which is quite cool. It's quite a large space, this, and the decoration isn't over the top. I often, with spaces like this, suggest building smaller and decorating a lot more. This one, I think, has got a really nice balance of just kind of everything you need is there. There's little points of decoration here and there, as we can see. And it's just enough to give it a bit of flavour and give it a clean, finished feeling without being sort of underdone or overdone, I suppose. And yeah, I like it. I really like that little vendor stand that's been created there. That looks really, really cool. All of the workbenches spread out along the side here. There's a number of things I would normally say about this. Extra details and positioning and things like that. But I actually really like the way each one's got its own alcove here. It works quite nicely, I think. And then the more residential, I suppose, bit, it has a little bit more going on this side. I would have used a different floor. I don't think there's any way of making those vault floors up there look good, to be honest. But otherwise, we've got a few essentials placed around, just neat and tidy. And definitely does the job. Swing upstairs. This is perhaps the weakest of the spaces, I think. I like the use of the glass roofs and everything, just to get a really nice kind of summery, well-lit feeling. But I think the space could have perhaps been decorated a little bit better. I don't know if budget might be a consideration, but you could lose a bunch of those water purifiers on that front. And yeah, pull things off the wall, as they often say. And that bed in particular does seem a little bit of an afterthought. But aside from that, if this space had a little bit more kind of life to it, the whole thing would be really, really cool, I think. Whereas the rest of the camp is really cool. So I like the sort of understated style of it. It works nicely. It's very kind of clean and, yeah, defensible and summery. Not exactly military, because a few too many potted plants and stuff for that vibe. But, yeah, I really like the combination. The contrasts work really nicely. And just needs a little bit of work in that top space, really, the living space. Otherwise, definitely one of the cooler builds using this particular building set that I see. So I don't very often see one that makes me go, yeah, I want to feature that one. And I'm quite happy to have found one with this particular camp. It's quite a nice front view on it as well. Camp number 2 is going all the way up to the other end of the Savage Divide, this time right at the north end. Oh, most of the way at the north end. Have expanded it now, haven't they? This one's coming from Chief Dooker, I'm guessing. That's how that's said. A lot of likes on this one, and with good reason, because it's a really cool, well finished off, pre-war style home. It's like definitely something you could imagine being in the real world, which is pretty impressive. Like the walled off garden here. This is the sort of thing we don't see done very often in Fallout. but it's definitely cool. Unfortunately, and I don't really understand why given that it's her best build, the gates are locked. So we'll have to jump in. Still, this is an interesting one. I have kind of two feelings on this particular front area. I like the kind of carport, the contrast between the driveway, I suppose, and the AstroTurf either side of it. But the line is so clean, and obviously AstroTurf is very, very artificial looking, because of course it is. But yeah, that's a bit too abrupt for me. On the other hand, we had a very interesting conversation just last night on stream about alternatives to lawns in parts of the US where it gets really, really hot most of the year round. Arizona was at the top of the list in that conversation. For example, we'll talk about if you can find one that won't melt with AstroTurf, but also things like painted gravel. So maybe this isn't so weird is what I'm getting at. Porch is quite nice. We're able to hang out outside, a nice bit of lighting on it. And we come inside to a very clean living space, big open plan central living room, which I quite like. Nice divided off functional space, looks really cool. There's a kitchen there with a breakfast bar. One thing I would have done differently on there, I'd have lowered the upper level of the cupboards down to a more reachable height, because if you were walking in there at the height the player actually is, that would be annoying to try and get stuff out of. So it just feels a bit too high. Like the seating area, not sure about the big old map there, the map table from Shandar Valley. That's a bit too... It's too big, isn't it? It's a weird piece, that one. I can't really think of anywhere that actually is not going to look out of place. I like the garage here, though. The stone walls and the brickwork look really, really nice in here. They change up the theme, make you feel like moving into a new area. As always, when everything's on the wall like this, I'm going to say my usual line of I'd have rotated things 90 degrees and used the central space a bit more, but to each their own. I like the... As with the last one as well, actually, this is kind of clean and not overdone. It's not quite a show home level of uncluttered, but it's leaning in that general direction. Can't quite get past the table there. Nice little bathroom. I should tuck everything in neatly there. And one thing I would do differently with the table outside this space. Yeah, neat, tidy, clean. I might put something on the wall in here as well. Not sure about the gold toilet. That's going to hit your knees if anybody tries to come in there when you're already in there. But yes, one thing I would have done would be to use the Wrecking Ball perk to destroy the table after you put it in, and then you can move the chairs closer to it. In fact, you can tuck them in underneath it if you want to at that point. So it's a useful little technique. Into a very compact little bedroom here. Radio station there. Somebody is tapping away with a Morse code. So they communicate with aliens. I love the accent wall in here. I think all of the components come together really nicely. It's just... I mean, the space is not unrealistically small, but there is absolutely nothing you can do to convince me that that bed doesn't look ridiculously proportioned. It's awful. I can't stand it. I like the design, it's just the proportions are terrible, Bethesda. Please go back and fix that. Please. Oh well. Anyway, round table. Really like the little hot tub area out here. I've forgotten the name of these porch pieces that are being used out here at the back. The pavilion pieces? Is that the right word? Feels like it's the wrong word. Anyway, they're creating the kind of pergola and the roofs and the posts here and there. Really like the effect out here. Kind of divide the space off. Nice little garden. I'm not sure about the pinball machine in the garden. That's a bit odd. Everything else, like it. Little area out there for the producers on the one bit of ground that clearly they couldn't get a foundation in. Because of the tree, I assume. I don't think those ones will be bulldozable. They're a bit too big. Yeah, got a nice place to hang out here. Got the things that are likely to produce fumes outside. Fireplace looks good. Yeah, nothing really to criticise. I like it. For me, I would go a bit more cluttered. Ooh, that piano's a bit too close to the wall. It's clipping in. There's something. Nitpick. Yeah, I like a bit more of a cluttered space, but that's possibly just a symptom of the way I grew up, maybe. I know not everybody goes that way, so... Also, this is quite a large camp, and budgetary considerations may be a thing going on here. Yeah, I do like it. It's very clean. It's a complete-looking build, which I really like as well. And, yeah, kind of fits in with the Appalachia didn't get hit by the bombs vibe, and therefore certain buildings are left intact, albeit some 20 years later. If it stayed occupied, that house could stay in pretty decent nick. Camp number 3, last one for the day, and this is the one that inspired my recent garden centre build that I mentioned in that video. A backwoods greenhouse build, which is quite cool, very rustic, and definitely the right word there for wild axe. And you're going to see why it inspired my build with no difficulty, I'm sure here. I really like the rustic vibe of this one. I really like how it blends into the environment. I like the location, actually. It's a place I've built a couple of times, and I know a bunch of other people have as well, up near Vault 50, what's it, at the top of the forest. It's a nice little flat bit of ground beside the path there, and it makes for really good, kind of fairly compact, but really cool camps. The use of mixed materials here and the decoration is absolutely on point. I even like the kind of beaten up, falling apart wall just on the right here. Often doesn't look quite right in many builds, but just using the one there adds that little bit of flavour and detail, and it looks absolutely fantastic, that space. All of the brambles and stuff growing back and look absolutely great. Really love the rustic vibe. You can see why it inspired me to do something similar but different. I didn't want to rip it off, obviously, but definitely liked the garden centre vibe that this kind of has. The chemistry bench at the end there looks really good. Tucked in the cage, which I was thinking maybe I should have used that cage in my my build, particularly in the open area in the middle, but then again I would be left with dirt floors, which I didn't really want there, so I can't win on all of them, I suppose. Yeah, little details. I've forgotten how you put the fences, or the walls rather, against the foundations there on the left. I did know, but I've never done it in so long I've forgotten how to do it. But it's a good trick, and it makes it look a lot more complete in this case, and adds to that rustic vibe. Not quite sure what this little shack attached to the greenhouse might have been pre-war, but I can understand why somebody might move into it post-war and set up shop. Might have done the bed a little differently. I do like it, but it's a bit difficult to get at. It kind of takes up a bit much space and doesn't quite feel as sort of post-apocalyptic-y as the rest of this place does. It's the one thing I think is maybe a touch out of sync. I might have gone with like a sofa with a sleeping bag on it or something like that and used the space a little differently. But otherwise, still really cool. The decoration style is otherwise quite cool. Love the brewing stations in here, and the stash box actually there next to it. All fits together really well. They've used really rustic themed furniture that works very nicely, and they've stuck to that rustic theme quite impressively. The only bit that doesn't really do it is that some of these plants are plastic, but you can kind of forgive that given the tools we have available, can't we? You know, we haven't got what we've got. This looks very cool. I like the way they've managed to sink the plants into the ground. I think of a couple of ways to do that, none of which are particularly practical, so either they've got more patience than me, or they've thought of a really clever way of doing it that I didn't. But yeah, it looks really cool. It's a great effect. Obviously, all the potted stuff actually looks like it's growing rather than being sort of just sitting on the surface. I took a slightly different direction for mine, but yeah, I was going with a more commercial vibe to it. Although I suppose this could have been a commercial property at one stage. More of a nursery than a garden centre, I think, you know. Yeah, I really like this. The combination of the lights and the conduits used as sprinklers work really nicely. I kind of borrowed that idea. I've also done something similar in builds in the distant past, the very distant past, so it's kind of like that reminded me? Re-reminded me? I don't know, something to that effect anyway. But yeah, really cool. I can't get over how well done the rustic vibe of this is. It looks absolutely spot on and really blends in with the environment. Looks like it belongs, looks like it's been here for donkey's years and has been kept up by whoever lives here. But also has perhaps struggled a little post-war and looks great for it. Really nice work. So there we go. This is the build that was inspired by it, or a small section of it. So I'll make sure I link that around if you do want to check it and you haven't already. Definitely had fun building that. Really good time looking around these camps today as well. Some really cool work on everybody's part here. Hope you guys enjoyed having a look as well and got a little bit of inspiration. If you like the video, please consider dropping subs and likes. I very much appreciate. Social media links in the description if you want to get actually useful notifications, or you can try and rely on YouTube's notification bell if you like as well. And we've got channel memberships below the video as well if you'd like to support the channel. I do appreciate it. And if you get a chance, join us for live streams too. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that we're playing at the moment, including, of course, 76, and looking forward to some Dead Space soon as well. But for now, I'll say thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very soon.